Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Amud Yomi Shiur, people on Torah Anytime, YouTube, and over here, so many people. We are in Makkos. Let's hit it. Daf, which daf are we in? Remind me. I think it's Tes Amud Aleph, right? Daf Tes Amud Aleph, kind of middle of the page. Shiur Latzlochas, Klal Yisrael, for the quick return of all the captives. Hashem Yishmo. Omar Rav Chisda. Line starts with the word lo shno. Line starts with the word shno. We're going to explain the question which we had, right, in the Gemara, and then we're going to get to bring two answers, Rav Chisda and Rove. We're going to read an amazing piece of Ritva today. You just got to hear this piece. It just puts everything in perspective and makes everything so clear. When you just see one piece of Ritva, it's the magic of the Ritva. Basically, the question we had was that we know that if a Jewish person, kills another Jewish person, b'shoigeg, he has to go to a city of refuge, Ir Miklat, that's what it's called in Chinese. And what about a Ger Toishov that killed another Ger Toishov, right? What happens if one Ger Toishov, meaning somebody accepted upon himself the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach, one Ger Toishov killed another Ger Toishov, what happens then? Well, that's a good question because there is a stira. On one time it says that a Ger Toishov who killed his fellow Ger Toishov, he gets killed. Like any goy who does any of the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach, breaks any of the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei Noach, he gets executed with Noah's law. And the same thing goes even for Shoigeg, even for Ger Toishov. And on the other hand, we said that Ger Toishov, who kills another Ger Toishov, goes to galus. So it's a stira. Do we kill him or does he go to galus like a regular Yid? That's a shaila. I told you yesterday, if a Jew kills a Ger Toishov, he goes to a miklat. That's what a lot of Rishonim hold. Seems to be the leading opinion. However, it's a machlokes. Some say that a Yid who killed a Ger Toishov b'shogeg is not goyler, but the mainstream opinion says that he does. I don't know if to start with the Ritva. Yeah, let's look at the Ritva now. I'm sorry I don't have it in front of you. I had a busy day yesterday, so I didn't get to print the whole thing. Also, my printer is not working. I wanted to read to you, just listen, Balpeh, to this Ritva. Yeah, Gimel Lashonis Neimu Bekutim. The question basically is a question which makes us feel uneasy. If a Yid killed a Goy, according to Halacha, what's Halacha? Well, what's the story? Yeah? We didn't find an oynish like an oynish mis of saif. So is that okay? Still, a human being, what's going on? Says the Ritva, there are three types of goyim, and that is Ger Toishov, Ben Noyach, and Kuti. Right? Sometimes Kuti means a Jewish Kuti. Many times Kuti is just a synonym for a goy. But there are two levels of goyim who are above the regular level, and that is what? A Ger Toishov and a Ben Noyach. Okay, what's the difference? Let's see. Ger Toishov, number one. What's a Ger Toishov? A Ger Toishov is the highest level of a goy. Shekibel bebezdin shel Yisrael lekam sheva mitzvot shenitztavu b'nei Noach. He accepted upon himself in a bezdin, a Yiddish a bezdin. He accepted, I will be mekayem sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach. He says it in front of three Jewish Orthodox rabbis. Mamish accepted. It's like gerus, but without 613 gerus of 7 mitzvahs. Yeah. Because there's such a person of the highest level, mutar lisyashav beinenu. He is allowed to live in Eretz Yisrael. What I told you yesterday, a person who accepted upon himself, he can live in Eretz Yisrael. That's what's called Ger Toishav. What's Toshav in modern Hebrew? Can anybody enlighten me, please? Citizen, a resident, a citizen, a denizen. Oh, that's what's called a Toishav. The kevan shekiblan bebezdin, he accepted it in Bezdin, who nikra b'shev mitzvah mitzuva ve'oiseh. He's called Mitzuva Voise. He's Mitzuva. He accepted it in Beis Din. He's supposed to do it, and he does. Very nice. Godel Mitzuva Voise. Mitzuva Voise. V'chianu Mitzuvin lachyoisoi. Very good. We are supposed to help him live. We're supposed to provide him with parnoso. He comes to Eretz Yisrael. We give him trefus and avelis to eat because that's what he eats. Yeah, and we're supposed to give him parnoso, to give him loans, to lend him money. Yeah. Okay. We're supposed to help him. And this is the highest level, okay? Needless to say, of course, you're not allowed to kill such a person, and that's why even if you kill him b'shoigeg, you go, according to the Ritva, and many, you go to your miklat. That's number one. No way, you're not allowed to kill him or damage him in any way. Number two, ben noyach. What's a ben noyach? Who? That's middle of the road kind of guy. Meaning, ben noyach, one level below. Ben noyach, who shaloi kiblam bebeis din. He did not accept it officially in Beis Din. That's a nice American neighbor next door. He never went to Beis Din to accept the Sheva Mitzvahs. We assume he's a nice, decent guy. Yeah, he never touched his friend's wife. Few and far between like that. He doesn't do, I don't know, mishkav zalcho or killing or stealing. He's a decent person, and he does those mitzvahs me'atzmoi because it makes sense to him and he does it. In other words, he's considered as a person who does it not as a mitzvah. He's not mitzvah. Of course, Hashem expects it from all the goyim, but the way he does it is not the Torah's mitzvah. He does it because that's what he does. So it's not mitzvah. Godel mitzvah voise, mimishena mitzvah voise, right? He's ein mitzvah voise. He does those mitzvahs. He performs the sheva mitzvahs, but without the real commitment. The such a person, what's his level? Ein anu mitzuvin lach yoisoi. We don't have to dafka support him. No, the nice next door neighbor in I don't know Cherry Hill. You're not supposed to dafka help him. I mean, okay, Kiddush Hashem, sometimes, of course, but there's no mitzvah be'etzem to help him financially and give him loans and give him money and give him your tray for meat for free. On the other hand, you're not supposed to kill him either. Stop, a decent guy. Given the at the end of the day, he performs the mitzvahs, he keeps the mitzvahs, one way or the other. Okay, it's kind of pariv. I don't help him and I don't damage him either. Okay, shav shenu mitzvah voise. Still, he gets some kind of schar because lamaisa he kind of follows toes the line. He follows the path. So therefore, I don't know if such a guy can live in Eretz Yisrael. The Ritva doesn't say if he can live in Eretz Yisrael. Well, he doesn't bring over the Zohar. It's not worshiping over the Zohar. That's a big mila. He's not a Catholic. He's not into Eastern religions. He's not an Ovid of the Zohar. Such a person, possibly, as far as I remember, can live in Eretz Yisrael, although the Ritva is not saying it. Number three, I mean, of course, this can be elaborated. You can learn this for a whole month, this ritual. There's a lot of details. We're just saying the kitzur, just a taste. Third is a kuti. Now, that kuti, let's assume the kuti are not Jewish. Kuti here is a synonym for a regular, not a regular, for a guy who's not necessarily following the Sheva mitzvahs. Ein azor l'kam Sheva mitzvahs. No, he doesn't care. Ish is ish, avodah zarah. He could steal if nobody looks, it's only $10. Even Chpochas Mishvei Pruta Benach is not allowed to steal, yeah? This guy would tell him, a decent guy, but $5, I can nick from someone, he's a worker in the bank, in Walmart, whatever, in Safeway, he manages to take here, 5 pounds, no Walmart, no, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, he manages to take without the system catching him, doesn't hurt anybody. No, that's a big problem, it's Chav Misa, yeah? Avodah Zarah, he goes to all kinds of religions when he feels like. Such a person, bad news. That's the guy which we're me'ikar din. I mean, nowadays, of course, you shouldn't. Don't try it at home. But me'ikar din, when we are in a situation where we're in control, then mutar la'oridu labo b'mokem deleka eva, as I told you. If it does not create animosity, nobody would ever know. You're allowed to kill that person. Yeah, he's a guy who's not fulfilling Rotzat Hashem B'chlal. He goes against Rotzat Hashem. Some Yidden are also in that situation, by the way. In Apikoros, a guy who's mamish entai, is a mesis umediach, right? So, Lamaise, a guy like that, as long as there's no Eva, there's no reason to B'chlal keep him alive. Oligrum lariga kolech denakit shum ila. Yeah, Bekitzer lomalin v'lomaridin b'mokum Eva. In other words, as long as it's not going to create any headlines. Nobody's going to know. You're a lonely island. And that guy with you in the lonely island, nobody would ever know. Go ahead, no problem. Again, Mikra Adin, I'm not saying you should do this Lamaisa, ask your rabbi before you go to the lonely island. But that guy is somebody who's not keeping the mitzvahs, B'chlal, is Mezalzel. How do you expect the guy to know about the Sheva mitzvahs? Says Rabbi Chonon Wasserman, we expect from each Jew to seek the truth, and from each guy to seek the truth also. Every guy is supposed to somehow seek the truth, not to become Jewish. Nobody's asking anybody to become Jewish. But a guy is supposed to seek the truth and try and become a better person. And every guy has enough of a nefesh to realize those Sheva mitzvahs and live according to them. Even if he's not a Ger Toshov, we at least expect him to be a decent Ben Noach and not to steal and not to kill and not to do the shtiyot of the woke and not to do the shtiyot of this. And yes, he's expected. Yes, 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 yes. And if not, then not only we don't help him, there's no problem to even cause him damage. Meikar adin. Of course, only when there's no Eva, no Chilul Hashem, Chas v'Shalom, as the already says. Again, this can be elaborated on. We can learn this for a month at least, but this was just one beautiful ritva. For me, it was a chiddush, even though I learned the sugi in the past, to define Ben Noach and Ger Toishov in such a way. That was very clear in my mind. It was misader many things in my mind. Ben Noach and Ger Toishov. Today, Lamaisa with Noachides, those who are called Noachides, I think are really Ger Toishov, because I think they do accept it in Beis. I think so, but I'm not sure. Okay, yes. Quick question. Weiter. Yeah, okay, very good. Very good. I was once in Mexico with a driver, and the driver drove me around. He's a goy, and he was a very decent person. And I told him the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach. Him and his friend were sitting there. They were writing them very diligently, and they were like very excited to know about the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach that they're supposed to keep. Apparently, the Chofetz Chaim says, and Chofetz Chaim for sure, and others, that there's an Indian to tell goyim about the Sheva Mitzvot B'nai Noach. Yeah, I'm not saying dafka have to propagate and spend your life on it, but if you sit next to a decent person in the plane or in the train, and he tells you about your religion, you tell him these are the 7 things you're supposed to keep. Adrabah. No cure for going. Weiter. Yeah. Omar Rav Chisda. Back to our question. What was the problem? When do we say that a Ben Noach who killed another Ben Noach b'shoigeg gets executed? And when do we say that it goes to Ir Miklat? What's the story? Loi kasha, not difficult. Kan sharogo derech yerida, kan sharogo derech aliyah. Depends if he killed him going down, descending, or derech aliyah ascending, which means we're going to explain everything. Derech yerida, the soil gali. That means beginning of the parak we saw a very big yesoid. Derech yerida, it says v'hepiloi, right? V'nofal. It says if the Jew, a regular person, goes to the forest or wherever and something fell off his hand downwards, or himself fell from the ladder, from the whatever, and killed the person, then he's chayiv golus. Then ihunami, then the goy in the equivalent case, a benoyach, the same thing equivalently happened to benoyach, nami sagile begolus. It's enough for him to go to golus. Yeah. In other words, if a yid goes to golus, the same case, parallel, equivalent by benoyach would go to golus too. However, derech aliyah, the soil potur, hunerag. Wow. If the Jew took his baseball bat, boom, boom, like that, or the axe or the whatever, upwards, was going up the ladder and knocked someone with his head and killed him, going upwards by soil, what did we say? Soil is potur. And therefore the goy is nerag. The goy in such a case gets killed. Wow. Yeah? Is that strange? Because what do you think? You think the goy is the Jew doesn't, you don't do anything to the Jew because it's potur, it's more lenient. And by a goy in such a case, you have to treat him worse and you kill him. Very interesting, right? What?
And down motion you get killed in the
No. The Gemara just says otherwise. No. The Gemara is saying no. Depends. Going down, the goy gets golus like a yid. If the goy went up, the goy himself, Mr. Ger Toishov, that Ger Toishov, if he goes up, right? In this case, he gets killed. Meaning, you kill him, you execute him. If you killed his fellow Ben Noach, his fellow Ger Toishov, you go up, he goes up, then you kill him. Yeah? If a yid, you don't do anything to him, by go, you kill him. So now, Omar LeRove says, Rove, what kind of logic is that? What? V'lav kal v'chomeru? It's a kal v'chomeru. Uma derech yerida, if by going down, the soil gali, a soil goes to golus, Yunami sagile begolus. When Israel deserves golus, the goy also, the benoyach also goes to golus. Derech aliyah the Israel potur. Derech aliyah, you know what Israel is potur, says Rove, because it's lighter. It's more similar to oines. It's more similar to, it's more lenient. You nerag, then you kill him, doesn't make sense, right? Rove's question is very, very strong. Rove says, what kind of logic is that? When the yid is more lenient, then the goy gets killed. Answers the ritva. We have to defend Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda is an Amoira. Says a Ritva, brilliant, simply brilliant answer. He says that's exactly Machlokes Rav Chisda and Rove. Unbelievable. Rav Chisda says the Derech Aliyah is not Kov Shogeg La'oine. It's not Shogeg Kov La'oines. It's Shogeg Kov La'mezid. Wow, wow, wow. In other words, I'm going to tell you about the terms later because I think you're not here. I'll explain everything. A guy, a Yid who goes up and is potul. How do you define it? Where do you classify it? How do you pigeonhole it? According to Rav Chisda, it's shagi korev lemezid. That's why it's potul, because it's too bad. It's too severe. That's how the Torah pattered it. Memela by a guy, he doesn't have the ptul, you kill him. Mashenkin Rove held? No. Rove held that going up is korev leoines. That's why it's potul. Korev leoines, leave the poor guy alone. Of course he's not chayiv. Let me just explain the terms again for those who were with us and those who were not with us. Yeah, you remember that there are three types of shoygig. There are three types of shoygig. There's the middle of the road shoygig. What do you do to him? Bam, bam, bam. Run away to a miklat quick before the goy ladam catches you. What about shoygig korev le mezid? It's shoygig and he could have known better. He could have done it better. He could have been more careful. For example, we saw if the equipment, we're going to see Machlokes again on base, you used equipment which wasn't so strong, which wasn't so well maintained. It's not mazid. You didn't go, well, let's kill him. But you were like poshea. Yeah, you were too lax about it. You were not careful where you should have been. So it's worse than a regular shoygeg, and you don't go to your miklat. Yeah. Oy, 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 oy. Yeah. Now, what happens to such a person? Says the Rambam, unbelievable. What does the Rambam say? He doesn't get to go to a miklat, but the goy adam can chase him. He has to be in hiding his whole life. The one who's kov lamezid. What about the other direction? Shogeg kov laoines. It's shogeg, but it's almost like oines. It's not oines mamish, not completely out of your control, but it's more to the lenient side. You couldn't have expected it, almost hardly. And therefore it's called le'oines. That's a machlokes. When going up, do you consider it as worse than shogeg or better than shogeg? That's a shaila here. Okay? But according to Rav Chisda, a goy, or a benoyach who killed another benoyach, or gertoshav another gertoshav, if they go up, boom, then they're considered as closer to mezid, and then you kill him. But Rava argues on that. Ela Omar Rava. Rava has an alternative answer to reconcile the steer about a benoyach killing a benoyach. You know when a benoyach who killed another benoyach gets killed and doesn't get galus? When it wasn't a regular mistake, but he thought that it's allowed. The ben noyach, they didn't teach him well enough in Noachide class. There are Noachide classes around the world, an internet site. He got the wrong information. And he thinks for ben noyach, he's allowed to kill another ben noyach. He knows you're not allowed to kill a Jew. They all want to be Jewish, the chosen nation. But he didn't know that benoich to another benoich is not allowed to kill. He's oimer mutar. He thinks it's okay. And that's why in such a case, he's sent to, then you kill him. Oimer mutar is worse than a technical shgogo, and then he gets executed. Omar la Abaye says Abaye, what? Oimer mutar onosu. He didn't know. It's oines. You say Dafka, the one who thinks it's okay and never actually learned the halacha is mezid or closer to mezid. He's an onus. He never learned. What do you want? Omar le says Rove. No, my friend Abaye. Just the opposite. Shani oimer, I say, says Rove. Ani oimer, I say. Oimer mutar kov lemezidhu. Oimer mutar is closer to mezid. Says Taisus. Shehoy loy lilmad veloy lomad. As we know, not knowing the law is not a reason for exemption, right? In other words, if you don't learn, that's the worst. Benoach only has 7 mitzvahs to learn, you know. You didn't learn, the fact you didn't learn as a Benoach makes you even more culpable, more guilty, and it's considered more as mezid. And therefore, in case of Benoach versus Benoach, he gets misa. Mashenkin, if it was a technical mistake, meaning it slipped off his hand, boom, something which was unexpected, that kind of shgogo, a technical shgogo, is considered to be a shgogo. And then he goes to galus. But not knowing the law, according to Rava, is considered to be as close to mezid, and therefore, in the case of a benoyach, who's at the end of the day like a goy, then you execute him. Now, Rav Chisda did not hold of that answer. Rav Chisda and Abaye are in the same camp. They think that a guy who made a terrible mistake but just not learning, not knowing the halacha, according to Rav Chizda, that's a reason to exempt him, is potu from death. According to Rava, he's chay of death. They both follow their own reasoning. They follow their own reason. The Itmar, it says in the Memre, Kasavu behema venimtza odom. Let's say the Ben Noach, he thought it's an animal and really it's a person. It was a monkey. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he thought there's an animal out there. He saw some flesh, some skin, and he threw a knife at it. He thought it's an animal. Oh, it's a person, meaning he did not look well enough. He did not investigate to know what's going on. Kinaini v'nimtza ger toishov. He thought it's a complete goy, over the zara, mizane, menuval, and really, it was a fellow ger toishov. We're talking about a ger toishov, my friends. Rove oimer chayev. Rove says he's chayev. Oimer muter korev lemezidu, which means just like a person who did not learn, listen to my words carefully, is missing information. So too, the person who didn't learn, didn't study the situation, is this a person or an animal? Is this a goy or benoyach? He didn't study the facts in the ground, then he's also considered as chov lemezid, and you kill him. There are two types of omer mutar. Either he didn't know, he didn't learn the books, the Torah, or he didn't learn the situation. In both cases, says Rave, if you're omer mutar, you did not learn, you didn't study the matter, academically or technically, then you consider close to Mezid and Chayv Misa. Chayv Misa is a Benoyach to another Benoyach. Kochken Benoyach to Israel, that's always. Even Benoyach to another Benoyach is Chayv Misa. That's Rove. Rav Chizda Omer Potur. Rav Chizda says, no, Potur. Why? Omer Muto Onusu. Rav Chizda says, no, if you didn't know the situation, don't demand of the person so much to learn everything and to learn the whole thing, and therefore, whether you didn't learn it academically, you think it's allowed to kill. You didn't know; nobody ever taught you, or you were really sure that this creature over there is an animal and really it's a person. I don't know, some nice-looking monkey. I don't know. Then he's an onus. It was out of his mental control. That's what they hold. Big machlekes eben noyach oimer muter. According to Rav Chayv Misa, according to Rav Chizda, he is completely exempt. Now let's read the Chumash. You can all open the Chumashim in front of you, if you'd like. And we're going, because the Psukim will be quoted back and forth. So let's just see the Psukim. Bereshis Perek Chof. Genesis 20. You have the Chumash, Rabbeinu?
Okay.
Well, you have a Chumash, no? Okay. Why? I brought one. There's behind Yosef. Can you pass him the Chumash, please, to your colleague? Or no, it's too hard. Okay, there's the Chumash back. Yeah, thank you. No, it's hard. Whatever, if you can. Bereshis Perek Chof. Aleph. The beginning of the 20th Perek of Bereshis, the story of Avram who went to Gerar. Vayisa misham Avram ma'atz ha'negev v'yeshev ben Kodesh ben Shiur v'erger b'Gerar. Avram Avinu moved to the city in Plishtim called Gerar. Kaf Posuk Beis. Avram and Sarah Ishto Yechoisi. Avram said about Sarah, his wife, she's my sister. V'shlach Avimelech melech Gerar v'ikach es Sarah. Avimelech sent people to take Sarah, and they took Sarah. They brought her to Avimelech, and Avimelech tried to do all kinds of things with her, and he did not manage. Hashem made it that he won't be able to do what he wanted to do physically. Hashem came to Avimelech in a dream at night, in a night dream. And now, what did Avimelech want to do? Avimelech actually, right, if we admit the fact that he couldn't do. Let's say he would have done what he did. Let's say Avimelech would have done what he did. He would be Omer Mutar. Why? Because he thought she's a sister. That's the information they gave him. Why would have he thought otherwise? And yet Hashem is telling him, Hin chomeis al isha shalokachto vi beulas bal. Yeah. In other words, you're going to die. Al isha shalokachto, the woman you took, she's beulas bal. She's really a married woman. And Hashem is telling him, you're going to die because of that. Avimelech did not approach her. Hashem, will you kill a tzaddik together with a goy? Why do you kill a righteous person? I'm righteous, I'm a good guy. He told me she is his sister. She also said she's my brother. V'tom levovi u'b'nikion kappa says, I did the right thing. Yeah, I did it b'toim lev. I did it innocently. I'm innocent. I had no idea. I didn't know about the facts. So Hashem replied in the dream, I knew that you are innocent because you didn't know the facts. That's why I saved you from sin. You know, I didn't function last night. It wasn't stam. It was because I didn't let you function, because I knew that you really were clueless, and therefore I saved you from sin. Now, right now, right, return the man to the woman to the man, because he's a prophet. He's an ovi. He'll daven for you and you live. But if you don't return her, if you don't return her, then you're going to die. You and everybody that's to do with you, all your people, are going to die. We may continue later, more on the psukim, but now let's go back to the case, to the Gemara. Let's go back to Daf Tes Amud Aleph in the bottom of the page. Eis ve'rove l'Rav Chisda. Yeah, Rava is asking of Chisda. What did Rava say? Let's remind ourselves. What's Rava? Abenoyach, who does something by complete mistake, he does know the facts, or he doesn't know the halacha. According to Rava, he's chayiv misa, and according to Rav Chisda, he's not chayiv misa. Says Rava, asking, in case of shoygeg or rotzech, shoygeg goes to galus. In case of other averas, then you don't do anything to him, or I don't know. Yeah, there's no. Omer muta is like oines. He's like oines. No, a shoygeg by goy is also oines. It's mamish oines. If a goy you didn't learn bechlal, doesn't know the facts bechlal, is an oines and is potter. He in chames. Now Rav is quoting the pasuk that we saw in chames ala isha asher lokachto. Yeah, you're going to die because you took someone else's wife. Now, he didn't know that he took her. He didn't know that she is someone else's wife. He didn't know she's an Eshes Ish. And yet, conceptually, Hashem says, you're going to die because of what you did. My love, bide Odom. Wow. The Gemara is claiming, according to Rava, that he's telling him, Yuchayv Misa bide Odom. In other words, such a Maisa, if you do this, Yuchayv Misa, even without knowing, had you done the Maisa even without knowing she's his wife, he happened to be saved by, by the skin of his teeth. But conceptually, you chayev misa b'dei adam. You chayev misa by people. If there was a Beis Din of Israel over there, if there were 3 Jewish Rabbanim over there, they would have killed you. They would have said you chayev misa. So you see that even though he's the oimer muto, he's missing the facts. He's chayev misa. Says Rav Chisda, Loi bidei shamayim. No. Who says? Maybe it's misa bidei shamayim. Oh, you're asking what's going to happen to a goy who's doing something be'oines? Maybe it's not chayav misa bidei adam, but it's still chayav bidei shamayim. That's what seems to be now what Rav Chisda is saying. Daikanami, Rav Chisda is supporting what he says from the pasuk. Dichtiv mechatoi li. If you remember, we saw, right? I saved you from sinning to me. The pasuk that we read says, oh, what's li? You're only sinning to me and not in the eyes of human beings. In the eyes of Beis Din, in the Olam HaMaisa, you're not going to get punishment. You would have punished sinning to me. Are you sure? When you say sinning to me to Hashem excludes execution in Beis Din, it means that in Beis Din they won't do anything. Well, the time, according to you, now we're quoting a pasuk from a different Eshes Ish. Who's the other Eshes Ish in Bereshit? Which at the end was not touched. Yosef and the wife of Potiphar. Yeah, Potiphar's wife. According to you, if you're learning that to me is excluding Beis Din and it's only Misa B'dei Shamayim, listen to the following pasuk. What is Yosef telling Eshes Potiphar before she went crazy when he was trying to reason with her? Was trying to speak to her logically. And he says to her, "V'chatasi le'elokim." How can you do such a terrible thing, right? Potiphar, your husband, entrusted everything with me. He trusts me. I'm his, first-hand man. How can I sin to Elokim? Now, Yosef knew very well she's an Eshes Ish. There, everything was very revealed and clear. She was outright Zoin. She said, I'm an Eshes Ish, and I want to sin with you, right? Shichvoimi. And yet, what does it say, Yosef? All the facts are revealed, and he's saying, "Chatasi le'elokim." I would sin to Hashem. Le'elokim v'lo le'odam. Are you going to say over there too, according to your diuk, Elokim is excluding B'din Adam? Of course not. Obviously not. Right? Clearly not. Let's say Yosef Atzadik would be in the setting of a Jewish Beis Din. Of course they would have killed him. It would chayav chenek. She's an Eshes Ish, right? The fact she's a goyte makes a difference nowadays. That's a different story. But me'ikar adin, be'etzem, Eshes Ish, yeah, Ben Noach with another Eshes Ish of Ben Noach. That's halacha today. Mackenzie goes with McKinley's wife. They're both chayav misa, for sure. Yeah, if there's a Jewish Beis Din involved. Ella, therefore, must be your duik is wrong. Dina moser la'adam, ochanami dina moser la'adam, which means, although Hashem is telling Avimelech, you sinned to me, of course you sinned to me, because who's the one that we sinned to? Only Hashem. Who invented the Torah, the mitzvahs? Hashem. Who invented morality? Hashem. But when we say li, is not excluding dina adam. The adam, the people, the Beis Din, they carry out the will of Hashem, and they say, okay, you sin to Hashem, we'll take care of you. So obviously, let's summarize. Basically, Rava is asking a question, and the question remains open. Yeah, this is a feather in the cap of Rava. Again, let's revise. We see in the story of Avimelech, but Poshut, Avimelech, although he himself happened to be okay by chance, because Hashem was nice to him, but be'etzem such a meiser of taking an Eshes Ish unknowingly, he thought she's a sister, Toim Levavi. And Hashem says, yes, you were innocent. But another innocent guy would have been killed, right? It says, Chatoy li, yeah, you sin to Hashem, but you'd be executed in Beis Din. So Rava says, you see, I'm right. You see that a Ben Noach who does something with a complete mistake should have known better, should have found out better, should have found out the reality. And if he didn't, is Chayav Misa bidei Odom, not only bidei Shamayim. Ad kan question number one. Now comes the opposite question. Remember, Abaye is on Rav Chisda's team. Yeah, and what do they say? They say that when you have, they say that a goy who's an oimer mutar, a benoyach who's an oimer mutar, what about him? Off the hook. Maybe it's chabis b'dei shamayim, but we don't do anything to him if it's onus. What's onus? He had no idea about the fact. He had no idea that it's also okay. Very nice. Now they are attacking Rava. By the way, I just want to stop in the middle. I just saw yesterday, I'm doing some Torah editing on the Sefer, that Avimelech, the goy, had some chashivus. It says that Avimelech was invited actually to the Mishnah of Avram. When Avram made the Mishnah for Yitzchok, Avimelech was one of the guests. Yeah, and he says was a choshev person. He had some chashivus. Yeah, that he was invited to the Mishnah. Yeah, to the Upshrein or whatever that was, of the Rismila, whatever the case was, to the party of the birth of Yitzchak. Now Abai is asking Rove, Hagoy gam tzadik ta'aroig. Oh, this is what Avimelech told Hashem. Are you going to kill a tzaddik? Oh, and the Gemara assumes that Hashem agreed to that statement. Avimelech is classifying himself as a tzaddik. I am a tzaddik, meaning what? That although I made that sad mistake, I'm a tzaddik, meaning a goy who is completely on the wrong, doesn't get the facts right, he had no idea, Toim Levavi, is a tzaddik. Oh, so you see that he was right. And you see Rove is wrong, according to Rav Chisda. You see a Benoach is called a tzaddik, and Hashem doesn't say otherwise. Answers the Gemara, although Hashem did not exactly negate that, but you have to read between the lines. Answers Rove, Hosem over there, in other words, don't say that Hashem silently agreed to Avimelech calling himself a tzaddik because he was unaware of what's going on. What did Hashem say? Hashem said something very obscure. What did he say? Ve'ata hashev eshes haish kinovi hu. He says now, just return her to her husband because he's a novi. Because he's a prophet, that's why you shouldn't touch her and return her to her husband. And the question is obviously, excuse me, Eshes Novi de Tiada, de Lav Novi Lo Tiada. If her husband is a novice, to return. And if her husband was a plumber, electrician, koilel guy, then you don't return her to her husband? What kind of an answer is that, right? Yeah. Ella Kedomer of Shmuel Bar Nachmani. This is what Hashem is telling of Avimelech. The Ata, now, first of all, you have to return her. Just stop arguing with me right now. First, return her to her husband. Then we'll talk. You claim that, okay, I'm returning her, yeah, back to the office, back to the dispatch center, back to the husband. Very nice. You claim that you're a tzaddik? You're not such a tzaddik. You claim that he said she's your sister, that she's a sister. Says Hashem. Hashem answers, Novihu. Umimcha lomad. Explains the Ritva. There's a big question in the Rishonim. What does Novi have to do? The Ritva, in his brilliance, says, you know why he said she's a sister? Because Avimelech is placing the guilt now, the blame on Avram. Why did he lie to me? She's a sister. Says the Ritva, Novihu mimcha lomad. He's a Novi, he's a mind reader. Mentalist. He's a mind reader as a Novi. He learned from you, meaning he knew what's in your mind. He knew that you are a little bit too much into women, and he knew what's going on in your mind, and that's why, as a defense mechanism, so he shouldn't be killed, he had to say, she's my sister. So she'll be anusa, she'll be forced, Avram will live, and at least they'll survive. The same thing as Mitzrayim. That's why. So it's your fault at the end of the day. He read your emotional issues, your addictions. He reacted that way, but it doesn't make you a tzaddik. It doesn't make you a tzaddik because your mind is in the wrong direction. Which not only now I realize how it ties very well into the sugya. In other words, you're blaming others, but because you're so hot and so into the women and stuff like that, mimela, you were too quick to listen. She's a sister. Sister. Did it ever happen to you that somebody tells you it's kosher? It's kosher, fine. Maybe check. A nice room guy tells you, it's good, it's kosher, it's good hechsher, and you quickly eat it. Maybe find out first, right? Even information can be rechecked and rechecked. True, can happen to the best of us. That was your fault for being too quick to believe that she's a sister without really finding out. What was the wrong mindset of Avimelech and his citizens? We skip the word who. When a guest comes to town, what do you have to ask the guy? Do you have what to eat? Do you have what to drink? Ask him. A Yid comes to town. What do you ask him? That's a very nice thing in London. There are many times I go to shul. Yeah, I always stay by people. Do you have where to stay? That's very nice. Do you have where to eat? Leil Shabbos? I do. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. It's very nice. People ask each other, do you have where to be? Is that the question to ask? They start asking, is she wife of your sister? It's not just nice small talk. They're asking, is she available? That's the first question. That's very nice. Yeah. Basically, he's coming with a girl to town, and they're asking, is she available for? That's not normal behavior. That's very parutz. Yeah. Yeah. Mikan. What's the maskana? The maskana Rava was right. Shebenoach nerag shelo lilmod velo lomad. Ben Noach. That is a Ben Noach. He's the middle of the road guy. What's a Ben Noach? According to the Ritva, a person who keeps the Sheva Mitzvah says not as a religion. He didn't accept it in Beis Din. He does it because he thinks it's a moral thing to do. He believes in Hashem. He has to believe in Hashem. He knows that's what Hashem is expecting from him. In general, he should have learned better. He should have learned better. Either learn better the facts and also learn the halacha better and know. And if he didn't, then he gets killed. Then he gets Misa, he's put to death. Yeah, good. Beseder. Beautiful. Mishnah. Next Mishnah. The Mishnah is going to talk now about all types of interesting people. Who is goyle and who is not goyle. Zokt the Mishnah. Hasuma. A person who is blind. Hasuma eino goyle diva abiuda. A blind person went into the forest. Well, he's blind, but he's good enough to cut off trees. Yeah. And what for that is good. Yeah. And now, boom, the axe fell. Whatever happens, ain't a goyler. Says Rabbi Yehuda, he does not go to Golus. Rabbi Meir oimer goyler. Rabbi Meir says a blind person does go to Golus if he killed by mistake. Now, person number 2, hasoine. What's a soine? As I told you many times, it's a Gemara in Sanhedrin. It's based on it says in the Chumash, a person who is considered officially a son of the other guy, meaning he did not speak to him for 3 days. He sees him every day in kollel, in shul, in at work. and he does not return the hello. Hello turns his face. Silence treatment. Yeah, broige, as we call it in Hebrew. And he's doing that. He's been doing it for the last 3 days. What happened on the fourth day? They go to the forest, and by mistake, the one who gives the silence treatment, who just can't look at his face, who hates him so much, he dropped the ball, he dropped the whatever, the X, and it fell on the head accidentally. I don't know. On the head of the guy that he hates his guts. Okay, what happens then? Says Tanakama Hasoine Eino Goyle, which means if you can, unless it's a real shoygig, complete korv leoines, we tend to believe that Stoine is always more inclined towards korv lemezid. We have serious chashash that because of animosity over here, then he is killing him b'mezid. On the other hand, you can't kill him, you can't mamish go and execute him. There's no asra. There's no asra. There's no warning. But he doesn't go into galus. So what happens to him? The Goel Adam can reach him according to the Rambam. And therefore, as a Kov Lemezid, he doesn't go to your Miklat, he's in trouble. Yeah, he doesn't get the Kapara of your Miklat. What he did is always assumed to be more to the Mezid side. In other words, I'll tell you very nicely what I think now is going on. Imagine yourself, right? You have the 3 levels of Shoigig, right? Kov LeShoigig, Kov Loenes, regular, and Kov Lemezid. By him, the regular one is always inclined or as if it's Kov Lemezid. The regular shgoga by him, because he's a soiner, you take the context into account, and although he did the run-of-the-mill shogeg, by him we already classify it as regular, as kol lemezid, and he doesn't go to the miklat. Now that's Tanakama 1. Rabbi Yossi Omer, asoine nerag mipnei shu kemuad. Wow, says Rabbi Yossi, a person who's a soiner in that very same situation. What did we say usually by Shogeg Kov Lemezid? You don't kill him, hey, but you don't give him your miklat. He's in limbo. Says Rabbi Yossi, kill him. Says Rabbi Yossi, you're supposed to execute him. You know why? Because it's as if he's been warned already. The Gemara will explain what that means. Yeah, we treat him mamish as a complete mezid, ad kedei that if there are edim and everything, and the edim have to be, tested very well, then you send him mamish to put him to death. Now, Rabbi Shimon says, depends. Rabbi Shimon is looking more at the circumstances. And he says, Yesh soine goyle, yesh soine shen goyle. Some soinim, even within the regular shoygeg or shoygeg korv lemezid, sometimes he goes to golus and sometimes not. Zeklal, that's the rule. Kol shu yochel omer ledas orag. Whenever we can say that he killed him b'mezid, ein a goyle. Meaning not mezid, but mezid enough not to go to Golus. Yeah, you don't kill him like Rabbi Yossi, but I believe, like Tanakama, when it's really very likely that he's doing it on purpose, then there's no Golus, he has to go to hiding. But if it seems to be a regular shoygeg, we're going to see the differences in the Gemara. There are fine differences. Yeah, a similar case, but a little bit more to the lenient side, then he goes to Golus. That will be explained in the Gemara. Tanu Abonon. Let's talk now about the blind guy. The Chumash says, when it talks about the Rotzech b'Shoigeg, it says in this week's parsha, Oy b'chol even asher yomus ba b'loy rois. He killed him. What's b'loy rois? Without seeing, without having him in the field of vision. Then he goes to Ir Miklat, Prat Lesuma, Div Rabbi Yehuda. Beloy Re'ois is coming to exclude the blind person, says Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, very nice. In other words, says Rashi, you know why we treat him like that? Beloy Re'ois means that this guy didn't see the victim. Mashma, otherwise he can see. He can see the birds and he can see the sky and he can see the kites flying. He sees everything. He's the top of the tree. Baruch Hashem. This he didn't see. Mashma, that a person who never sees, lo aleinu chas v'sholem, a person who's blind, is out of the game. He's potter. He doesn't go to Golus. Misken. He doesn't see anything. What do you want from his life? That's Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir says, I would have agreed with you, but below the ois l'rabois is a suma. Below the ois is coming to include the suma. How could that be? Yeah, what do you mean to include the suma below the ois? Let me explain. My time at the Rabbi Yehuda. Everything will be explained now. What's Rabbi Yehuda's reason? Rabbi Yehuda exempted the blind guy. Why? Dichtiv. Let's start from the beginning of the story. How does the story of the Rotzech B'Shogeg always begin in the Torah? He comes one day, he comes into the forest. What did we learn from that? Forest is Dvar Reshus, is Mokum, that everyone can be ready to learn. Two things we learned already from forest. Let's summarize. Forest is free for all. As opposed to if you come to my house without permission and I'm busy at work and I killed you b'shogeg, chalila, and potter. Shogeg, be ya'ar, in the forest. Forest is a recreation place, nothing to do with mitzvah. But if you killed him as a the mistake emanated from a dvar mitzvah, he hit him for a mitzvah like to, hit the wayward son, then he's potter. Now learning a third thing. Asher yoves reu bayal afilu suma. In other words, who can come to the forest? Everybody, even a suma. He has a guide dog, he has a stick and sunglasses. Lo leinu. He comes to the forest. Everybody can come, including the suma. I don't see any exclusion here. Also, below the ois mate comes the pasuk below the ois to exclude the suma and telling you, no. Everybody, let's erase, let's delete those who don't see. Right? Below the eyes, excluding the blind people, as we said before. That's Rabbi Yehuda, that's an easy one. Rabbi Meir, how does Rabbi Meir include the blind guy? He says, very good. Below the eyes, lema'et. I agree with you. You know, Rabbi Yehuda, at the beginning of the pasuk, I agree with you. It says below the eyes, excluding the blind. But you know what it says later in Chumash Dvorim, Perek Yutes? In a different place, it says, bivli da'as. It says, you know who gets killed, who goes to Ore Miklat, the one who does it, the murder, bivli das, without any knowledge, bli das, without knowing. That's again excluding the blind guy. Why? The blind guy never knows what's in front of his eyes. Yeah, a regular guy knows what's going on, and here there was a fluke, there was a miss. Bivli das, it's like we twice excluded suma. He doesn't see, he never sees. He doesn't know, he never knows what's going on. Now comes this choshuv rule, have a miut achar miut. When the Torah excludes, and then again excludes, then miut achar miut, ela lerabois. Very nice. This is a rule. I'll teach you some I'm making you up, right? Basically, minus is a plus. That much I remember from school, from Kita Gimel Dalet. I like that concept to remember already now. Okay, minus is a plus. When the Torah excludes the blind and again excludes the blind, it's come to include the blind. And that's why Rabbi Meir says that the blind man is goyle. Very nice. What would Rabbi Yehuda do with the words bivli das? But also says Rabbi Yehuda, leave that alone. Bivli das has nothing to do with the blind, and it's not even in the same chumash. In other words, Be'etz and Bivli Das doesn't talk about blind people. He talks about the mentally. A blind person can be a big genius, right? A blind person is not stupid. He's not special needs, right? Whatever. I mean, he's special needs visually, but he's not like right, unaware. And therefore, it's two separate inyanim. It's not like we twice excluded the blind. One time we excluded the blind, and another time we said that who is chayv to go to galus? The one who doesn't know what's going on. Very good. Two things not connected. Now, weiter, the first wide line. What did we say about the one who hates? What did we say about the hatee, the hater? What did we say? That a person who hates his friend. What? You keep correcting me, and you're right. It's interesting that the Gemara says all the time, chaver, even about soina, right? Deep down, they really like each other, Let's be the psychologist here, okay? So basically, a person hates the other person. What did we say? Tanakama said, okay, I'm not going to send to a miklat because it's always we're more inclined towards saying that he's a mazid. I mean, you can't kill him either. What? We're not in a jungle here. You can't kill a person without proper hasra, and there was no hasra. Any case of shogeg from the beginning of Makkos all the way to the end, there's no hasra. There's hasra meaning that he knew that it's going on, right? If two people came and told him you're not allowed to kill, and there's a guy over there, it's not called a shogeg, right? So this guy, we may have heavy suspicions that he hates him, and he did it on purpose. We can't kill him. And Rabbi Yossi says, yes, you can execute him. And the glaring question is, frag the Gemara, excuse me, the heilige Rabbi Yossi, velo asro bei, there's no asra. How can you kill a person without asra? From the beginning till the end of Sanhedrin, asra. Day and night. Only with asra you can kill. No other way, right? So what's going on here? Answers the Gemara, what we already said a few dapim ago. Mesnisin Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. Our Rabbi Yossi is not Rabbi Yossi bar Chalafta, it's Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda. So, the Tanya, Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda omer, Chaver eino tzorich asra, lefi shelo nitna asra, ela lavchin meshogeg lemezid. As we explained, I think you're in England when we learned it, I'm not sure. Let me explain now. Why do we need asra? According to the mainstream opinion, to the mainstream Tanoim, and to the Rambam, la halacha, you always need a straw. Even if the person is the biggest gadol ador, but wants to do an avera, he's a big Talmid Chacham, and he knows everything, you always have to give him a straw. You call it in English standard. That's a standard procedure. You can't kill a person unless it was a straw right before the Maisa. Okay? I don't care, but if he knows, he doesn't know, I don't care. You have to have a straw, finished. There is a reason for it, and I'll say it later. There's an order here. Rabbi Yossi said no. Hasra is a technical thing. You have to be master of the person because maybe he doesn't know the halacha. Let's say a person on Shabbos is doing boirer. He never learned about boirer, right? There are a lot of people who define themselves as Shomer Shabbos. They're really nice people. They never learned about boirer. He has no clue that you can't take out the rotten tomato from the nice tomatoes or from the cucumbers, right? He doesn't know. So now you have to give him a straw because miskan, maybe he doesn't know. He's not a goy, he's a yid. You don't kill a yid by oynis or by omer mutar, right? That's why I have to give a straw. That epitomizes itself by when Rabbi Yossi says the chaver does not need a straw. Why? Lo nitna straw lavchin and shogeg lemezid. A person knows Hilchas. He wrote a sefer on Hilchas Shabbos. He's a big Talmid Chacham Hilchas Shabbos. He surely knows he can't do boirer. And if I saw him doing boirer, my friend and I will schlep him to Beis Din, and he's going to get skila because it's just a technical thing. How does that play into our story over here? Oh, says the Ritva. Before the Ritva, yeah, today's very Ritvod Shiur. Before the Ritva, why is it really that we, whoever is not Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda, like the Tanakama, the Rambam, why do we always need a straw? Why is that? Because even though he knows the halach of boirer, maybe he doesn't realize that the reality is boirer. Maybe he didn't see that this tomato is rotten. Maybe he thinks the tomato is nice. Maybe technically you can have a big Talmid Chacham, but he's a bit spaced out. Maybe he didn't see the reality. What? He doesn't know it's Shabbos, right? Very good, beautiful. Oh, so there are two reasons why you have to give a straw, which ties very nicely to what we said before about Omer Mutar. He has to know the halacha, and that he knows. He also has to know the technical issues. And that's why, although the guy's a huge Talmid Chacham with a frock and a hamburger, and he knows everything, maybe he's still technically mistaken. That's why I have to give him a straw and tell him, hey, Rabbi so-and-so, you aware today's Shabbos? And this is a rotten tomato, and these are good tomatoes, and you're doing boirer? And only if he said, yes, I don't care. Then you give him the misa. So what's this? How does that all tie back into our story? Says the Ritva. We have to make an ukimta that this guy is a stoine. If a guy is a stoine, he's a hater, so to speak, and that guy underneath, he hates the guts of the person that the ex accidentally fell on, it accidentally or not, right? Good question. Mitzad the halacha, he needs a straw. Maybe he doesn't know you're not allowed to kill. Okay. But mitzad the technicality, you don't need a straw. Because we highly assume that this was b'miskaven. What about the fact that he needs a straw mitzad the halacha? Says the Ritva, unbelievable. We're making nukimta. This guy is a Talmid Chacham. I don't think you have to be a tremendous Talmid Chacham to know you're not allowed to kill. Yeah. He knows you're not allowed to kill. That we know. We know in his background, we have edus that he learned in yeshiva lo sirtzach. That much he knows, yeah? He knows you're not allowed to kill any other Jew, right? He knows you're not allowed to kill a guy that you hate, also, beseder. What about the second part of that straw? The tomato kind. How do you know technicality? No. That, according to Rabbi Yossi bar Yehuda, I don't have to give the straw there. Why? The fact that he hates him, that makes up for that part of the asra. So because he knows the halacha and the guy was, the accident was very, looked like it's closer to Mazid, and we know that the guy hates him, the technical side doesn't need the straw. He knows very well that's a tomato and that's a cucumber, in other words. He knows very well that this guy's there and he probably did it on purpose. The probability is so high, you're going to take him to Mazid and execute him. Wow. Okay? So the straw, what? Right. The only person, the Mishnah in Sanhedrin Daf Pei Beis tells you that there are only 3 or 4 exceptions to the rule of Hasro and all process of Beis Din. There are only very few people, you kill them on the spot. Aboy Laramis, the person has relations with a goite and 10 people see it or know about it. They know that the guy has, relations with the goite, and there are 10 people know. You kill him straight away with no Hasro, with a lot of conditions. Only the kanoim, only within mamish the second that he sees it, yeah. And also a person who steals the items from Beis Hamikdash. And Moshe Feinstein has a very nice explanation. Or a kohen that falls asleep in the avodah, they take and they mamish, they smash very harsh things. Weiter. Okay, yeah, but that's an exception. That's an exception. I'll tell you in general, Moshe Feinstein says that the reason is all these people, they are putting at risk the whole of Klal Yisrael. A person who has relations with the goyta, unfortunately today it's so rampant, we live in a crazy world. Yeah, but Zimri, yeah, a guy who lives in a time zone, it's not unheard of to touch a goyta, except for Benos Midian, he started it, yeah? Then he's not just, when it's your issue with Hashem, we're being very nice to you and there's a whole process. But if you are basically drilling a hole in everyone's boat, then there's no Rachmanis. That's in general the idea. Zok the Heilige, we don't have much time, but we'll continue. Rabbi Shimon Omer, yesh soine goyle. What did Rabbi Shimon say? Depends. Some soinim, they're goyle, they go to galus, and some get killed, depends on context. Tanya, Ketzad Omer Rabbi Shimon yesh soine goyle, yesh soine shene goyle. What's the example? Give an example. It says like this. Imagine yourself now that the person was drawing water from a well with a dli, with a bucket, and the bucket is connected to a rope. Okay, now, and the guy's in the bottom of the barrel. The one killed the victim is, I don't know, he's in the water. I don't know, he's in the well. He's underneath. Now, and the bucket is heavy. It's an iron one, metal one, yeah, or steel. So now, nifsak goyle, nishmat eno goyle. Nifsak means that boom, all of a sudden the rope, basically, let's assume the rope was well maintained. That's another issue, by the way. The rope looked very nice, well maintained. Absolutely unexpected. The rope was cut off in the middle. All of a sudden, I don't know, a bird came and chipped it. I don't know. Something happened. The rope was cut off. That's very unexpected. As much as you say he hates him, you can't always be cynical and say, oh, that's not an accident. No. Mechitesi. They were complete cut off with no expectation whatsoever. Mechitesi. So then he's not goyle. Then he's goyle, excuse me. Then he's goyle. It's not onus, but he's not assumed to be what? He's not assumed to be dafker murder. Is goyle. This is like middle of the road kind of shoygig. Why it's not called oines, we're going to see later. And we're going to connect it to daf zayin. Nishmat eino goyle. Nishmat is more tricky. What's nishmat? What's shmita? Very good. It slipped off his hands. If something slips off your hands, that's already, it slipped off his hand and he happens to hate his guts because, I don't know, he did all the wrong things. And to slip off a hand can either be a really slip or my muscles became a little bit loose from some odd reason and it was slipped, not exactly by mistake. And then he doesn't go into galus. According to Rabbi Yehuda, he even gets executed. According to others, he's too bad already, too severe for imiklat, and it's bad news. Yes?
Things like that, things would have an inquiry and they find the road was greased.
It was greased. Okay. Don't give us ideas. Tanya, let's just get to the Mishnah. I know it's late, but I really want to get to the Mishnah. Frag the Gemara, Tanya, there's a brisa that contradicts what we said. Rabbi Shimon Oimer, le'oilameinu goyle, ad shishmat machzelo miyodoy. Rabbi Shimon says, there's only one way for Golus, not when it's nifsak, but only by nishmat. Machzelo, remember we said at the beginning of the perek, some people had this like heavy machinery on a roof to tar the roof. They would have like a big kind of what they call a machine, big and heavy, and go up and down to tar the roof and cover it. And then it slipped completely. Only when something is completely slipping out of your hands, then you're goyle. Sounds like what? He only believes that slipping is a reason to be goyle, but nifsak, if something is like halfway in my hand, half the rope stays in my hand and half fell down and chipped in the middle, then he's not goyle. So it's a stira, right? Kasha nifsak nifsak, kasha nishmat nishmat. It's a double question. First of all, in the first brisa, he says that by nifsak, when it's cut off and half stays in your hand, boom, cut off. It didn't slip out of my hand. Then he says he is goyle. In the second brisa, says he's not goyle. And another question also, nishmat nishmat. Why? Because at the beginning you said nishmat eino goyle. In the second brisa, it says nishmat slipped off. He is goyle. Answers the Gemara, and by the way, the words are changing here. The gears of the Gemara is not true according to Rashi and many others. Nishmat anishmat lo kasha, habeoyev habesoine. Nishmat, you're asking me, when is it that slipping out is goyle, when is not? Very easy. When the person is an innocent guy, his best friend is down there, or a guy that he doesn't know. A nice guy who sits at the other side of shul, you have nothing to do with, or your best friend, and the whole machine completely slipped off the hand, then it's galus. Why should you suspect everybody? Evidan chavschus, Meshenka nishmat, nishmat by a soine, then we suspect that it very conveniently slipped completely out of his hands, greased, or his muscles got a little bit loose, and he really doesn't know why. And then we say it's not goyle, he's worse than that. Nifsak nifsak, yeah, lokasha harebi orabonon. Very nice. We spoke about machinery. What's nifsak nifsak? What's the problem with that chedel, with the rope, that suddenly, all of a sudden, was cut off? Do you really think it was a very, very strong rope, and all of a sudden it happened? Eliyahu came and did something? That itself is a machloikus, which we saw in Daf Zayin with base in the Mishnah between Rebbe and Rabbonon. Remember, I gave you a shiur, and then I came the day later and told you the Iyun with the Meiri? That's it. Very nice. Which means, according to Rebbe, we said over there, in Daf Zayin Amud Beis, we saw Machlokas Rabbanon and Rebbe. What happens if, remember, you have the garzen, you have the metal blade of the garzen completely fell off the handle. Yeah, flew off the handle, literally flew off the handle. Then what did we say? We said over there, machinery is wrong. You checked your machinery. Let's say there are Adim parrots, no joking now, that machinery was okay, it was just about fine, it was checked, and all of a sudden, boom, it slipped unexpectedly. Well, how unexpectedly can you say? Something must have been wrong, right? Because at the end of the day, it did fall. So how do you treat it? Says the Mishnah over there, Nishmat abarzel mikata ve'orag, Rebbe omer einu goyle. Rebbe says, you're not chayv golus. Why? Because that's considered as machloikis. The Meiri and others, either oinus or closer to oinus. I could have expected I checked it, or the Meir says it's closer to Mazid, my friend. You didn't check it well enough. If it did happen at the end, what do you mean all of a sudden it happened? You didn't check it well enough. Therefore, it's closer to Mazid. The Chachomim oimrim, yeah, goyle. Chachomim say no. If you checked it well, you're not an angel. You do have to go to your miklat. But if you checked it and then the machinery went wrong, the machine here it's the dli, there it's a galzen, you're goyle, and it's the same machlokes over here. Baruch Hashem. Tomorrow, Be'ezras Hashem, we're going to learn the geography of Israel. We're going to see where were the Orei Miklat. We're going to see the details of the refuge cities. Atzlocha uvrocha to all the mishtatfim. Thank you to people on Torah Anytime. YouTube. Atzlocha, brocha, questions, and everything good will come